Hello everyone, coming back to our class again. Today I would like to start at this particular website. This is another resource for you to learn online about C++. You can go to here c++.com. I find it very interesting because they have arranged the website to be not just about tutorials, about articles, but it's also about forum where you can ask questions with the community. Okay, so for today let's go to the tutorial section. And they have arranged everything in other topics as well, not just for the C++, some background information that's needed for you to do well in C++. Again, this is a complete website. I don't expect you to learn everything in this website. And for today, click on C++ language. We've gone through almost everything up to here. So now we are entering program structure. Okay, so what you've gone through is actually from top to bottom is exactly the same if you are learning C++ in a computer science program, but obviously we're not covering all topics. Definitely for exam we'll be covering until program structure and a bit of array. Okay, only up to there if you're looking at this structure. Okay, and for today we're going to look at statements and flow control. Right, statements. Actually, we've gone through if-else. So if-else is one of the type of statement that we'll see in C++. It's called a selection statement. And you can go through all the examples again. This is another good thing about c++.com. It has lots of examples. And some of it is similar to what I've shown you in our class, in our video. But some of it is quite different. So you can have a look. You can use it as an example in your studies, or you can also use it and keep it in your file so that you can study it later. So what we are interested today is in the loops. I call them loops, but the formal term for it is iteration statements. So let's make it bigger so that you can read easier. So the while loop is basically a loop. Okay, a loop is a loop. Exactly what it means. It means that it allows the computer to repeat something again and again and again, and as long as the statement is still true. If you think about it, it's very useful because everything in our life is in a loop. If you think about it, you know, day turns into night, night turns into day again, so it's a one-day loop. Imagine that you want to program a robot. You don't have to actually program it day by day. You can just have to program it just for one day, and then for the next day it just repeat itself. Okay, the while statement or the while loop is used to do something like that. Okay, we allow the program to run again and again as long as the statement is true. Okay, so this is one example in this tutorial. I leave it to you to try it out, because the good thing about this is that it's actually editable. Okay, you can edit it and run it. Okay, I've never used it, but I leave it to you to do it. But for today I would like straight to go into our example so that you can play along with example and save it and use the file for you to study later on. So let's have a look at the first example. The first question: write a program to display numbers 1 to 10 using the while loop. So let's go to our favorite compiler, depending on your system. That's what I always do. Whenever I reach my compiler or IDE, I always click run first, just to be sure that everything runs smoothly. Okay, cout hello world. So that's exactly what you get. Yeah, printing hello world by using cout statement. By what you know by now, in order for you to simply display number 1 to 10, I hope you know that you can do it this way. Okay, because remember what I told you about cout. Cout simply display what you write in between these hyphens. Okay, so there you have it. Isn't it the same? Yes, but there's a big but here. Okay, if you were to answer like this in an exam, I would give you marks, yes, but I'm afraid I cannot give you full mark. Okay, because you are not answering the question. Yes, the program runs well, there are no errors, but you didn't answer the question which asks you to write this using a loop. Okay, so in order to get full mark, you got to use the while loop. Why don't we go through a complete example, and I'll explain it and go through one by one. So for you to use while loop, you have to do it this way. While a, okay, and that's all equal to, then we make it something easy. Okay, let me know if you are still unsure by now what are these squiggly bracket means. Okay, why do you have to have it in all your programming? Yes, it's a bit quiet. Just enjoy the background music for now. You know, let me finish this and we'll see if it runs, then I'll explain it one by one. Okay, let's run this. I hope it should be correct. One to go. Yes, it runs well, but there are no spaces, so let me put a space between that. It looks better. Right, there you have it. So let's explain one by one what all this. Right, as you notice that I put in a variable up there, integer a of the data type integer, and I call it a, simply call a. Okay, or you can use other variable names. Why do I need a variable? Okay, let's have a look. So this is the main program. A while program needs a few things. And these are the things. First, it needs a counter. Okay, this is what I call a counter. Why don't we call it counter lah? Okay, counter is what it is. Okay, it counts. I'll show you what it means in a bit. Okay, okay, as you can see, the output is what is needed by the question, 1 to 10, using the while loop. Okay, this is the basic structure of a while loop. You need first, you need a counter. I simply call it counter so that you won't get confused. Why do you need a counter? Okay, imagine you are in a loop. Okay, you want the loop to run only 10 times. So you need to have a way to tell the loop that getting closer to the end line, so to speak. Okay, so you start with number 1. So you set the counter to have a value of 1. So in programming terms, assign value 1 to counter. Okay, so if you have been studying up to now, you will know that this is what we call a comment. A comment is something that you can put into your program and it won't get run. So it's for you to read so that you understand what you're doing. Okay, so we set the limit to only run 10 times. Okay, we start at 1 and it increment by 1 so that it will stop when it reaches 10. Okay, so these are the requirements of a while loop. So you have to set the counter at when you want it to start. You have to set the maximum limit. The counter is still true if it's less than 10. While it's still true, you have to see out the value of that counter, which is now is 1, and then you print out a space. Okay, and then before you finish the loop, you tell the program that look, counter needs to be counter plus 1. So now counter is 2. So the loop goes back to where the word while is. Okay, goes back to the word while, and it checks whether the counter is still less than 10 or not. So now counter's value is 2. 2 is still less than 10. That means it's still true. So if it's true, then it run this statement again. Okay, just this statement. So once it run this statement, it printed number 2. Okay, and then it add another 1 to the counter. So now while the counter is now, the value is 2, it adds 1 to it, and then counter is now 3. Okay, so it goes back to where the while is, and it checks, is counter still less than 10? Yes. If yes, then still do this thing again, and it adds to the counter again. Now it's 4. Go, less than 10? Yes. Do it again. Now add 1, 5, and the loop continues until the last one, 9. Counter equals 9 plus 1, it's 10. Okay, 10. Is it true? Yes, still true. So it still do the last one. See out, counter is 10. It brings out the number 10. Now counter is added by 1. So counter is now 11. So it checks again, is counter still less or equal to 10? No. So if the answer is no, it jumps straight at the exit of the while. Exit of the while is here, and then the program stops. So as usual, copy it, save it in a, and go to the folder where I just call it while 1. Okay, and save it. Right, that's it. I write a program to display 10 asterisks using the while loop. Okay, it sounded the same, so it should be about the same. Okay, so if you still have the program there, then that's great. Where do you think you will change it? Because before this you're printing numbers, but now you're printing asterisk. So where do you want to change it? Yes, you change the part where you have to print out the numbers, and you just have to change it to an asterisk. Okay, that's yay. If you like me, you will count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, that's true. So since we've also learned about the special character, so why don't we add that to the program, so that the spacing between the asterisk will be much more nicer. You know, not just one space, but separated by a tab. Okay, a tab space, which is a distance that is predetermined by the computer. Right, so before we go to the next part, which I asked you to do it vertically, I would like to go through with a simple example, a change. If you can see here, I hope by now you appreciate that to repeat something 10 times, all you have to do is start the counter at 1, and then make the counter to increment by 1, and set the limit to 10. Okay, but you can be creative about this. This will allow you to do other things as well. Okay, let's say, what if I were to change it this way? If I were to change the increment to 2, what do you think will happen? It starts at 1 if the counter is still 10, but the increment is 2. Okay, it starts at 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 2 lagi 5, 7, 9, 11. Now the statement is wrong, so it doesn't do this, so it will straight exit the while loop. So how many times do you think the asterisk get printed? Is it still 10 or less or more? Let's have a look. As you can imagine, it will be less, okay, because the increment value is 2. So the number of loops that you have to go through is less. Actually, you can guess how many times by looking at the increment, by looking at the number where it starts, and by the number where it ends. Okay, so you can be creative about this. Why don't I change it to 1 still, and I change this to 5? What do you think will happen? How many times will the asterisk get printed? If you guessed it 5, then you are correct. Oh no, you're not correct, because if it starts at 5, it printed at number 5. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 6 of them because you started at 5 and the limit is at 10. So you can be creative about this. Just make sure that you have the right iteration. Okay, let's change it to something else. Limit is 20 and the increment is 2 and start at 10 at 1. You still get how many? Should be able to only get 10 asterisk because of the increment is 2, but the limit is set at 20. You can count this as usual. Yeah, 10. So yeah, what I'm showing is that you can be creative about this as long as you know where to start and where's the limit and what's the increment. Okay, and the loop can be used for so many things, and let's have a look if you can use it to display it vertically. Okay, vertically, not in one line but in a column. Okay, where do you think we should change it? The main program should be the same, yes, correct, but we need to add an end of line instruction. Okay, so that every time you print out an asterisk, it will go to the next line. Let's have a look. Yes, as you can see, the asterisk is printed in a column. You can count it if you wish. You can make it bigger so that you can see everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, that's great. So this is the way to do it. Yeah, see out, as I said previously, see out, you always print out whatever you input into the command. So all action must be done at that line, and the rest of it is like a control to the while loop. So if the program is running well, as usual, copy and paste it into a text editor, and you can save it with the name that you can remember later for you to study. For this one, I'll just call it while 2. Okay, great. So see you at the next example. I would like you to write a program to display odd numbers between 20 and 30 using the while loop. So the output should look something like this. The odd numbers between 20 and 30 is 21, 23, 25 and 29. So let's have a look at what we have before and see whether you can tell where will we change it. Okay, so obviously it's not the asterisk, we drop that. So we go back to the example that we print out the counter, so we delete the end of line also. Right, if you were to do it this way, 20 to 30, it starts with number 20. What do you think will happen? Okay, what do you think will happen? So for displaying something between something and something, you go back to this example and play along with the values. Okay, so in this particular one, so what you have done is basically printing all numbers between 20 and 30. Okay, we start at 20 and it ends at 30, and the increment is 1. So where do you think you will change in order for you to just display the odd numbers between 20 and 30? You just want these numbers, 20, 23, 25, 27. Can you look at the pattern? It starts here, it jumps to the next one, jumps to the next one, jumps, not next one, jumps to the 2 numbers afterwards. Okay, that should give you an idea of where to start. Okay, so if you want to start at 21, do it like this. 21, maximum is 30, and the jump is 2 numbers. You can do that. Okay, let's have a look if this is the right way to do it or not. There you have it, 21, 23. So what have you done actually? So have a look at what you've wrote and see whether you can make sense out of it. Okay, basically it starts at 21, it ends at 30, and you want the number to jump by 2 in 2s. Okay, so it starts at 21, jump by 2 is 23, by 2 25, and so on. Okay, so this is correct. So why don't you paste it and save it somewhere. As usual, make it a habit to do this, okay, so that it's easy for you to study. Right, so I want to change it a bit, and I want to show you whether you can make sense of it or not. Okay, let's say I want to have it not in numbers, but I want to change it using variables. Okay, let's say I use this number. Okay, say I have it and I do it this way. Can you understand what it means or not? Okay, okay, so practically what I've changed in the way of programming is nothing, is none. There's no change, but the only thing I add is another two variables, a and b. Yeah, but what does a and b variable used for? It's used for storing these numbers. Okay, so the number that it started with is stored in a, counter will have to print a, and the value of maximum is stored in b, so you put it there, b, and the rest of the program is the same. Okay, what if I want to display all even numbers between 1 and 100? What do you do? Even numbers between 1 and 100. Okay, it starts with number 2, the maximum is 100, so it's even number, so you have to increment by 2, so that's correct. So let's run it. Do you have all the numbers? 2, 4, 6 until 100. Yes, you got it. Okay, so I leave it to you to change the numbers, play around with the numbers, and that's how you should study programming. Okay, I don't want to save this one because this one is like a homework to you. I leave it to you to play around with the values and save it with the name that you can study. So for the homework, I want you to write a program that accepts two integers. If the second number is even, then display all even numbers between the two integers, else display odd numbers instead. Can you understand the question? Write a program that accepts two numbers, two integers. Use the previous examples of the cin and cout, and then store the value as the number for you to use the while loop. Okay, place it where you think it's necessary to get you the right answer. Okay, so I leave it to you to try. You can, once you try, and if you still have problems, you can ask for it in the forum at the Spectrum, but I won't do it here. I will answer it if you ask for it in the forum. Okay, thank you. That's it for this week. Happy coding.